and welcome to another fun and exciting learning with me. I am Gilbert DC Sigurado, your English teacher at your service. And for today, we are about to discuss the Module 3 of the Quarter 4, determining the word of ideas and listening text. Join me. At the end of this video lesson, students are expected to 1. Know the word of ideas in the listening text. 2. Appreciate the rich background of the text being listened to. And last, apply the techniques in determining the word of a listening text. Before we proceed with our topic for today, let us review the previous one. It's all about the interpersonal communication, where you learned that we have three types of interpersonal communication: the interview, dialogue, and conversation. Now, I will read a scenario and you will identify what kind of interpersonal communication is being described. First, Nene is carrying out research on how the experiences of other students in distance education. Is it interview, dialogue, or conversation? Good job! It is interview. Second scenario. Pedro asked the police officer about the direction going to market. Is it interview, dialogue, or conversation? You are right. It is a conversation. For the last scenario, June plans to get information from the school physician for the school paper on the current health situation of our country. Is it interview, dialogue, or conversation? Great job! It is dialogue. So you see, you learn the different types of interpersonal communication. But the question is, can you communicate without listening? Can you understand the communication without knowing the content of the message? These questions will be answered once we started. So, let's go. At this moment, I will read a selection and your task is to listen carefully because you will going to answer a certain question right after this reading session. So are you ready? Let's go. Carabao Impressionistic by Conrado Pedroche. This is a carabao, horns, hides, and hoofs. A huge hemispherical belly, well-filled and pampered. A long tapering tail ending in a tuft of hair, heavy with cake mud whipping the sides, right and left, right and left. Tongue thick and tough and sticky, licking wet fly, infested nostrils in and out, in and out. Eyes slumberous with dreams of beauty and grass, ears wide and hairy, neck furrowed and rough and bald. A brain that keeps repeating the chant of chewing jaws. The slow and varying motion of grinding teeth. The quiet shifting cud. A bird poised for flight upon the back. Suspended grace of wings and uttered loveliness of song. This a marvelous statue in a live bronze strong, majestic and more wonderful far than all the ways of gods and fools. Carabao, Impressionistic by Conrado Pedroche. And yes, that is the story of Carabao, Impressionistic by Conrado Pedroche. And now, to test if you really listen carefully, I will flash a crossword puzzle and you will answer the questions just to unlock the hidden word in each puzzle. Let's start. Down number 1. The chants created by the animals is made by its chewing. Write your answer on your paper. Down number 2. The repetition of right and left refers to the movement of the animals. Write your answer. Third one. This is described as fly infested. Oh, what's this? Number 4. It was described that the tuft of hair of the toes is blank by mud. 6 down. This is a type of metal and is used to describe the animal in the poem. Oh, what's the answer? Last, number 7 down. The ears of the animal is described as blank and hairy. Next, across. Number 5. This is the animal being described in the poem. Oh, it's pretty obvious. 8 across. The tongue is described as thick and tough and blank, licking wet. And last item, across. This is described as huge and hemispherical. Okay, so I hope that you write all your answers on the paper and submit it to your teacher on the day of submission. So as you observed in the previous activity, you are asked to listen to a text. Because listening is an integral part of communication. It is a means of understanding verbal messages. Listening is a skill of understanding the things being heard. It involves the ability to retain the words or sounds heard in the working memory, attach meaning to the words and sounds, and interpret the message being conveyed. That is listening. Aside from the fact that listening is very important, we must know that there are 4 types of listening. We have active, emphatic, critical, and appreciative. Right now, let us discuss the difference of each. Active listening. This is a kind of listening that primarily aims to understand and learn new information. This type of listening is what we usually do in a typical conversations. This type of listening opens our mind in accepting new information, such as when we are listening to a teacher during class discussions or when we have an informal conversation with another person. Active listening is very observable when there are exchange of message between the sender and the receiver. So, just like the classroom scenario, active listening is applicable because you are required to respond in the question thrown to you by the teacher. Or just like in an informal conversation with your friend, wherein your response is based on the message that the sender or the one that you are talking to is being delivered to you. So when we say active, it is giving full attention to what is being said by the sender for you to respond quickly and to respond accordingly to the message that he or she has given to you. So that is active listening. It is very applicable when you are required to answer a certain message right away. So that is active listening. Critical listening. This kind of listening involves a deeper understanding of the verbal stimulus that aims to interpret, examine, and analyze the speaker's message. This type of listening is commonly used when we listen to facts and opinions that can affect the way we make decisions. An example would be when someone apologizes to you and he or she is explaining his or her sides, you will use critical listening to get a good grasp of what happened. Now let's have critical listening. This one is different from active listening because in active listening, you are required to respond right away after the message is being sent to you. But in critical listening, you are weighing the facts. Are you going to believe? Are you going to acknowledge his or her words? Because from the word itself, critical, just like critical thinking, you are weighing. If you are about to being moved, if you are about to go on his side, or if you are about to believe on what he or she is saying. Because critical listening, you are going deeper. You're going deeper into the meaning of the words or the message they are sending because your response is your judgment already. It is your decision already. So meaning, your response in critical listening is, we are not saying that it is not correct, but it is your judgment. It is your decision. So it lies to you if you are going to believe or not on what the sender is talking about. So that is critical listening. For at the end of the day, you have your own mind, you have your own thoughts and ideas. So what they are saying to you is not your judgment, but there is a proper way to weigh it, and that is by listening critically. Emphatic listening. This kind of listening aims to understand the meaning behind the spoken messages and relate to another person's feelings and emotions. This type of listening is very useful in intimate conversation among family, friends, and partners. The third one is emphatic listening. So this one is different from active and critical. In active, you are required to answer right away. In critical thinking, you are weighing facts and opinions. So it matters your decision. But in emphatic listening, you are going behind the message and there is already an integration of emotion. It's like you're asking yourself, what if I am the one on his shoe? What if I am in that position? What am I going to do? There is already an integration of emotion. So you are listening not only to have information, you are listening not only to have your decision, but you are listening because you are concerned with the one you are talking to. That's why in emphatic listening, it is applicable in an intimate conversation because there is already an integration of emotion. Appreciative listening. This kind of listening aims to enjoy, appreciate, and acknowledge a speaker on his or her message. This is also a form of listening for enjoyment, just like when you listen to music for relaxation and entertainment. And the last kind of listening is appreciative listening. From the root word itself, appreciate. You are just appreciating the message of the sender. It's like you are inspired, you are moved by their words. That's why it is also applicable in listening to a music. You are appreciating the message. And this kind of listening is for relaxation and entertainment. We have 5 distinct phases of listening. The first one is reception. It all starts when we hear a sound. So, once there is a sound and we heard it, we call it reception. So, we receive the sound. 2. Hearing. Second is attention. Now, attention, our mind will focus on the sound itself. Then there we have it, perception. Perception, the sound will then be transmitted in our brain. The fourth one is assignment of meaning. The brain will decode the message and will be stored. And the last phase is response. We will respond with the message. So, to make it simpler, once we hear the sound, we receive it, and it is called reception. And now, while focusing on that sound, we are giving our attention. So, by giving our attention, it directs in our brain, and that is perception. Now, when it comes to the assignment of meaning, the sound we receive will now then encode by our brain itself. So, once the encoding of the sound is done, then that is a time that we are about to respond with a message. So, there is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing, you are only receiving a sound. But listening, you are receiving a sound, you are interpreting the sound, you are decoding a message, and you are responding. Now let's have activity number 2. Choose the type of listening that is applicable in the given situation for us to have an effective communication. So choose your answers from the following: active, critical, emphatic, and appreciative. Write your answers on your answer sheets. Situation number 1. Jenna is listening to her friend, Tammy. Tammy confides to Jenna about the family problems. Is it active, critical, emphatic, or appreciative? Number 2. Edgar is listening to his teacher during a discussion of subject-verb agreement. Next number. Noemi is listening to the doctor on how to avoid being infected. Is it active, critical, emphatic, or appreciative? Number 4. Johnny listens to the speaker of a seminar and nods in agreement and claps after the talk was done. Is it active, critical, emphatic, or appreciative? Last item. Lester is listening to his mother giving the instructions on how to cook pork stew. Active, critical, emphatic, or appreciative. Now let's have our performance task to measure if you really have learned the techniques on how to listen carefully. So I want everyone to bring out a piece of paper and follow my instruction. So I assume that you have already your bond paper. Instruction number 1. Draw a huge rectangle. Huge rectangle. Number 2. Draw a house in the middle of rectangle. Third one. Draw a door on the house on your left hand side. Which is your left side. Fourth one. Draw a window on the house on your right hand side. The fifth one. Draw a tree beside the house near the window. Sixth. Draw a sun over the tree. Number 7. Draw a man outside the house near the door. Number 8. Draw a car beside the man. Draw a flower between the tree and the house. And for the last instruction, write your name in an uppercase letter at the bottom of the rectangle. So I do hope that you listen very carefully with our instructions. So for those who are not following the exact time, you may pause the video and you may resume once done with every instruction. So to sum it up, listening is very important in our communication. Without listening, we can't able to respond correctly with the message of our sender. So also, it is stressed that listening and hearing is two different processes because hearing alone is a process of receiving a sound, while listening is hearing a sound, giving attention to it, decoding a message, and responding. So in this video lesson, we learned that there are techniques in effective listening and also that we have 5 phases of listening. So I do hope that you learned a lot in my discussion. For the assessment, kindly visit your official group chat, and for those who don't have the access in internet, assessment is provided in the self-learning module that was given to you last Tuesday. Again, this is Sir Gilbert Sigurado, your English teacher at your service. Till next time, bye!